Hey, what's up, YouTube? Wasn't planning on making this video, but I made a trade tonight with a local collector who actually doesn't live that far from me. So he hit me up on Messenger, and I just ran over there after dinner. Got this Johnny Lightning Ford Pinto, which is a casting that I've never owned. It's a metal on metal, rubber tires with tread. It's a heavy casting. It's not the nicest Ford Pinto I've seen in the scale, but I've only seen a couple, so this is a casting that I'd like to see Greenlight do, as well as the square body K5 Blazer. And I would like to see them released in the form of a Stranger Things Hollywood release. So I know Greenlight's been contacted about it by more than a few people, so I think it might be something that they're at least looking into to see if they can get the licensing. But pretty cool. It's not the only other Pinto I have, and I mean, I've got thousands of cars, but only 2 Ford Pintos. Here's the other one. This is the Motor Max. You can see the Motor Max, definitely a nicer car, but it does look a little bit bigger to scale. This is actually a car that I think Johnny Lightning got pretty close from a scale standpoint. I don't, in looking at it, I don't necessarily think they got all the proportions right, but I think it's probably closer to the 1:64 than this Motor Max, which I think is probably closer to like a 1:60. But I could be off. I could be way off on that, though. I mean, I honestly don't know enough about the Pinto to really say. I'm just basing that on the size of these castings in relativity to some other castings that I have. So the Johnny, which is the blue one, is a 1971. And then the Motor Max, which is the red one, is a 1970. So they are a year apart. And the biggest difference I notice is this rear window. So anyway, so there's that one. And then I picked up a few of these. This is a Buick Riviera Revell lowrider. These do have the opening trunks, which have all the hydraulics. They have articulating axles. So there's that one, and then I got this one here, which is same tooling, different deco. Like this one's kind of goofy. And then I got another one which is different, and the guy that I get these from is a pretty avid collector of the Revell lowriders. It's pretty much the main thing that he collects. And all these cars that I get from him are all extras. But anyways, I got this tonight, and he was telling me that this one, which you can see, it's very different. All the others that I have those same Dayton 100-spoke wheels. The only difference is some of them are chrome, some of them are gold, with the exception of the S10 that has the TriStar. But this one here, he was telling me that that they actually put some out that didn't have articulating axles. So this casting here, instead of having an opening trunk, It has an opening hood, which has actually a really detailed engine. It's one of the more detailed engines that I've seen. It's more detailed than most Greenlight engines and most M2 engines. So, very nicely detailed. It's got painted headlights, does have a license plate, has some pinstriping, different wheels, although they are similar. So anyways, this is a Revell lowrider. It just doesn't have the hydraulics on it. So 3, 6, 7. So now I've got 8 of these cars. Although I don't know if he watches my videos or not, but one of these lowriders is on its way out, and it is going to be that the S10 with the TriStar wheels. That one is traded to Murder Mitten. If any of you are on Instagram, I got a sick car for it, so it was well worth it. It was a fair trade, pretty equal on both sides. So this is my Revell lowrider collection, minus that S10 right there. I'm not going to go through them individually, just because I just did it not that long ago. So one other thing to touch on real quick, I touched on it earlier in my last video with this Ford Bronco. Here's another vehicle that I chopped up a little bit to get parts for the Ford. I took the roll bar and the push bar off of the Dodge. The only thing that went onto the Ford, though, is the light bar on the top. Everything else on that Ford is from Greenlight. But I did keep the push bar, because I'm sure I can find another use for it. And here's the van that I took the rack from. You can see when I pulled it off that a couple of the cross supports stayed with the van. It's kind of hard to tell though when you look at it, so I'm not real worried about it. But because when I posted the picture, this one here seemed to be the off-road vehicle that everybody wanted to see get the push bar and the safari rack, so I think I might give it a shot. This van here had a safari rack on it, which was a white rack, and my thinking was, well, I have this other Grand Wagoneer with white wheels, so maybe the white rack would look decent with it. And when pulling this rack off, it came off clean. Even still has the 4 little posts, which are, none of them are the same length, so I'm just going to clip those off, and then it'll mount right on top of the luggage rack on the Jeep. But I have to say, I don't think I like the way that this looks in white. So I figured I would show this, get your guys' thoughts. I'm thinking it needs to be painted black. It's sitting crooked because of those posts. Once I cut those off, it won't do that. But the white rack with the white tires, to me, is not a good look. So I think I'm going to paint the rack black. And if I do paint the rack black, I'm going to throw it on this one. We're just going to do this one. So that'll be the next one I do. I don't have another brush guard like that one there on the front of that. So unless I come across one for cheap, I'll just paint this black and I'll throw this on the front of the Jeep. And then we'll paint the rack black and throw it on top. And then pretty much that should do it. The only other thing, I mean, it'll need a black spare, so I guess if I have to, I can paint this spare black. But the only other things that it's not going to have is the pickaxe and the shovel. Because the only the only casting that I've seen that has those is the Dodge military truck, but which is this one here. I did find that I have another one of these that I totally forgot that I have, and I actually would be willing to take those, so I might actually throw the shovel and the pickaxe on this one as well. I really think those are what takes it over the top with the detail. And I've got another Dodge Ram, so I can take another light bar from that. And basically the safari rack will be just like this one, except it'll be on this. The only difference will be, instead of getting this brush guard, it's going to get a little push bar. But it's going to be it's going to be a little bit more work, just because I've got to paint the rim, and I've got to paint the rack, and I've got to paint the brush guard. But that'll be my next project. I have no idea when I will get to it. It's not a very high priority at all. So, but it'll be the next one that I do, and then I'll have two of them. And I'll probably stop it there unless I can get one of these internationals lifted. In fact, if I get one of these lifted before I start this project, then it could very well be a Scout that gets it instead of a Jeep. The safari rack is like the perfect length for the Scout. Doesn't look great on this one, just because of that stock stance. But if you throw it on a lifted one, it actually looks pretty good, I think. Heck, I think even the white one on this one doesn't look too bad. I just don't like this Scout because it lacks all the detail of these other round 2 Scouts. So, anyways, those are the thoughts that are kind of going through my head. I'm glad I did the Bronco first, though, even though it wasn't the most requested. It was the one that I wanted to do the most. It was the one that, when the idea popped into my head, this truck is the reason that I got the idea. And it never dawned on me when I got the truck, because when you get the truck, this is what it looks like. And this just doesn't scream custom. It doesn't scream, hey, throw a safari rack on, turn it into an awesome looking off-road truck. But when I send it to Custom Farm Trucks, and it comes back with a stance like this, and wheels and tires like this, then I can't help but think, man, that thing needs a safari rack. So, and I have a few other colors of these Broncos that are going to be lifted, so who knows? It may be another Bronco too at the end of the day. I don't know. But anyways, that's going to do it. I'm tired. I got to work tomorrow, so I'm going to wrap it up. You all have a good week. Don't work too hard. Happy hunting. And I'll holler at you at the next video.